But a Magneto from a universe where there are mutants, and there have been mutants. There's no mutants in the 616. Don't say that they've been hiding, that they're there now. No, they're just not there, right?
I don't like
it. And this Magneto has been carving up universes, trying to find a safe home for his mutants. And he doesn't want to destroy the 616. He just wants to destroy the non-mutant, all the living beings in the 616, and park his mutants here on our planet. Welcome back to the Break Room. I'm Brandon Barrick. Who cares? Joining me today, we have Hector Navarro.
Hi. Hello.
Are you silent?
Wait, keep saying hi, hello.
Hey, what's going on? Are y'all having fun? Me too. You know, I'm at Hector is funny because I'm funny. Of course. Okay, why is the camera still on me? Can we move on? Seriously though. What's going on, Evan?
Hector, that's enough, please.
Evan,
please,
can you
Hector.
Please move the camera. Evan.
Please.
Evan.
We also have Jacki Jing.
Sorry, Hector, I think that was great. We should be a team.
That was incredible. I agree.
Should go on the road.
I don't know.
That was really funny.
Content that would be, but yeah.
Jeff Dunham should be scared. Did he get canceled?
Yes, we're doing it right now.
Oh, well, I think some of his characters were inappropriate.
Moving on. Okay, we're focused. What are we talking about today?
Well, here's what we're going to talk about today, Jacki.
Okay.
We know that Jonathan Majors will no longer be playing Kang, and the future of the character is kind of up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to recast it. What are they going to do for this next Avengers movie? Supposedly, it's no longer called Kang Dynasty. So is Kang off the table? We don't know. There's been a lot of speculation about which villain could replace Kang, and with many, including ourselves, saying Dr. Doom could do it. He's a household name.
I like
He's
it.
got the stats. He's got the appreciation. He's got the metal mask. That's
like
scary.
Okay.
I like it.
He's got a secret country we haven't seen yet in the MCU.
Yes.
True.
Latveria.
Unless we have seen it, but we don't know it yet.
Oh.
But yes, it's definitely a place that
It's around there.
We haven't. It hasn't been labeled.
I'm gonna dive right in.
You want to dive in?
I believe that Dr. Doom could easily be the new big baddie.
Okay.
And frankly, I believe that he deserves his own movie.
Okay.
Like I think that it's not
like a Fantastic Four movie. You want like a movie
No,
called
I want a
Doom.
Dr. Doom movie.
Wow.
And this is why, because Dr. Doom has so much depth to him. Again, coming from like this exotic area, like we love Wakanda, we love Sokovia, we love all that stuff, right? So they can like do this deep dive into his youth. And, his mother gets taken away by Mephisto.
Okay.
His dad, I hope I'm not spoiling this all for everybody.
No, go ahead.
Okay, his
I don't think
dad
you can
is
spoil
literally
60-year-old
holding him
comics.
in his arms in this war-torn country, like trying to save him and freezes to death. So like this childhood is just so tortured and awful. And then I know we're gonna be talking about Mephisto, and I think it's like already pretty clear Mephisto is going to be coming into the picture.
Yeah, they've
they've.
I don't think they've Capital C confirmed it, but
No.
We've heard rumors of casting and stuff. for the show
Hollywood
Ironheart.
reporters talking about it, and
Like Sacha Baron Cohen is Mystery Man.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people are Mystery Man, Mephisto. See what they did there.
And if it feels weird that he's in the Ironheart show, it's because the other character in that show is the Hood.
right.
Yeah.
Right? Parker Robbins, who his whole deal is he gets a power from Mephisto in
Yeah.
that kind of magical sorcery world. So yes, so he's coming.
Yeah, so I think that they can definitely make the connection there. And so like I need to have a bad guy that I relate to. Like I'm like, okay, like you're not just like the bad guy of the week. Like I need to have like a deep connection to you. And so I feel like recently we've just been, and I'm sure that there's some outliers here, but like in my recent memory, I cannot think of a villain that like really just, I was like, I'm super attached to you. And like, I feel so bad for you, right? Like, so for me, I just feel like, let's get a movie. We just show his backstory. We show how he comes up. We can show his initial kind of like interactions with Fantastic Four, right? And maybe like allude to it a little bit.
Because he went to college
school.
with Reed Richards, right. Okay.
I went to SUNY. I went to SUNY as well. So that's why I'm also like, Dr.
Should be watching you.
You went to what? You went to what?
SUNY. SUNY Binghamton. It's State University of New York.
Oh.
And in the comics, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. I think Dr. Doom also went to SUNY. They didn't specify which one. But
I
yes.
thought it was. I thought in Marvel Comics they have a fictional New York college, which is like Empire State University or something, and it's supposed to either be their version of NYU but you went to SUNY, so
There's a lot of SUNYs though, so he could be like going to a made-up SUNY.
Oh.
So this would be a SUNY, the State University in Hegemon, New York.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be a SUNY.
He didn't go to SUNY Binghamton though, but we're in the SUNY system together.
Okay.
Okay. And then also, so then we establish his childhood, but then he goes back to Latveria. He takes over. He kills the Baron.
Yeah.
He gets his own army. I don't know. This is a revenge story. Yeah. He has such a tortured deep childhood. We can connect it to Mephisto. We can connect it to Fantastic Four. I'm just sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But I want to see a villain given their time to shine. I think sometimes we just see them in movies. They look really bad. We let one bad thing happen to them, and we're okay, this one bad thing happened to them. You're supposed to sympathize with them, but we don't really get to know them. So I'm if we want to set up, and I don't want to go too deep into the Kang stuff, but in my opinion, I didn't feel super attached.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so that's why. Yeah. So I'm for me. If they have the opportunity to start fresh here, and I think a lot of people are already talking about Doctor Doom, like you said, aesthetically, so much to work with.
Looks great.
But I really think that there's so much backstory that you could do with Doctor Doom, and then I don't want to take up this whole time just talking, so I'll pass the baton here. But I was telling y'all before the show, I really think you could make this a trifecta with Beyonder and then with Molecule Man. But I'll leave it at that.
We'll save that.
So yeah. So but what are your thoughts on that? I really think a really establishing Doctor Doom could be great for the MCU.
As Jacki was going over that, one thing that as you were describing his story and his origin, I was you know what it even sounds like? It sounds like he's a Killmonger, but who actually succeeds.
Right.
Because Killmonger was stopped by T'Challa and T'Challa's family and his allies. But imagine if Killmonger went to Wakanda and took it over. And that's who Doctor Doom is. And you're oh, shit, that's kind of awesome. So he could be an extremely sympathetic villain and character. And with the fact that his mother dies, but specifically the type of dies in the Marvel Universe where her soul goes to hell, because the Doom family was wrapped up in sorcery and stuff, and she sort of made a pact with
She
the devil.
goes to not HEL, not the Norway
double
hell.
hockey sticks.
She's Christian hell. I said
Thank you.
real, but that's not.
She is she is burning in the fires of Christian hell.
Okay.
That's right.
It's the realm of Mephisto.
Right.
He's one of the Hell Lords.
Yeah,
One of my favorite Doctor Doom stories, and this is where you bring in Benny Cumberbatch, is Doctor Doom every year on his mother's birthday, because of his mastery of sorcery.
Yes, I forgot this one.
This is a good storyline.
Attempts to breach that realm and get his mother's soul back every year on her birthday, and he fails. So one year he recruits Stephen Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, and he's like, "You're gonna help me get my mom's soul."
It's a good story.
Put this
Doom,
in the movie. Yes.
Strange and Doom, Triumph and Torment. That's the name of that story. Damn, that would be so good.
What
dude.
if Cleo was actually Doctor Doom and that was just a
I don't
trick?
like that, but okay.
Hector goes, no.
I'm waiting for Kevin Feige to pull the big switch on a gender swap for one of these characters or something like that. And a female Doctor Doom would go pretty hard. I think.
Well,
Oh,
it would
yes.
definitely.
I would be here for
What's
that.
the matter, Hector? A woman can't be a doctor?
I would
Is
like
that the problem?
I think
I'd
it
be
would.
okay with it,
I think
yeah.
it would drastically change the dynamic between
Sure.
Reed and Victor.
I mean, I wanted him to.
That's
to do it
You know?
for Fantastic
Reed, yeah.
Four. He never would, but I wanted Mrs. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted a
And-
stretchy Sue Storm and an
and
invisible
Mrs.
Reed Richards. How
My
adorable would
goodness.
that be?
Oh my
The
goodness.
Invisible Man. It writes itself, folks.
I think it'd be great. I think I'm gonna. This is my cop out. I think
Okay.
I'd like to leave the same way my cop out for James Bond is. I'd like to leave Doctor Doom a male character because you can explore. It's overused, but you can explore masculinity and how bad it can be because he's supposed to be an example of that's bad. The type of ego and ambition that can fuel. That
Because
comes
he's
from,
unchecked in his country, right?
Right, and it comes from the sort of masculine upbringing that he had, between his father and his mother, and all even the fact that when he's in college, and Reed is like, I looked over your numbers, and I know you didn't ask me to, but your calculations are wrong, and his ego goes, how dare you?
I mean, that is a dick move.
That's a toxic
move.
masculine trait. If he was cool, he would be like, "Oh, you're really smart. Actually, let's look at these numbers together." But that's the whole point of Victor Von Doom.
I'm
is
on
that
Doom's
he
side
was-
with this one. I'm
Yeah.
on Doom's side with this.
You're on Doom's side with it. That's
I'd be
fine.
like, oh, did you look at my numbers? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, right?
Which is fine. Which is fine
Mind
because
your business.
I'm going to make
You
a
know,
robot that looks
yeah.
like me to kill you, okay? That's how I'm going to do it.
That'll be my revenge.
That's my revenge.
So are you both then on the Doctor Doom train?
I mean, I love the idea. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think
it works pretty well.
My only sort of trip up, and I think why this conversation is worth having of like, if it's not Doom, then what other options? Is I think that Doom is a villain like Loki, like Bucky the Winter Soldier, like Magneto, where that's a Marvel villain that you play the long game.
Yeah. I don't want it concluded.
I like that.
And Thanos, I love the character of Thanos, but I think everything they did with him in the MCU, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much all you can get out of Thanos. I don't want him to come back. I don't want more Thanos stories, right? And he was the Infinity Saga villain. So I'm looking at right now, and they're in the multiverse saga. So I love Doom. Doom, even though he is such a integral part of Secret Wars, he's also not like a multiverse villain per se.
Yeah.
He is Reality 616, Sacred Timeline.
Right.
He's going to bother the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and everybody else for years to come. So that's my only thing is like, maybe if they're just trying to lean into the multiverse thing, they might maybe tease Doom, but not go full on Doom and like do the end of his story. Cause they'll be like, okay, we're going to use him in the next saga and the saga after that and the saga after that. But who knows?
I definitely want them to stretch him out.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
there's so much potential. Do you want to? I don't want to like cut you off. Did you want to say that you want to give your Doctor Doom?
Well, let's establish what we're gonna do here.
Okay.
Doom is a great fill-in for Kang.
Okay.
If they want to make him the big bad, but there's others out there. We're gonna go through them.
Okay.
Evan's gonna monitor the chat. He's gonna run some polls to see who the audience thinks makes a good replacement. I mean, Doom makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't want him like one and done, obviously, or 3 and done, or however
I
many
want a
movies they
Doctor
put him
Doom
in.
movie. Did
Yeah.
anyone in chat agree with me, Evan, or am I?
Yeah. I like this comment from
I think
Okay,
so.
Hector.
Alicia VP saying, "Tell Jackie we think Doom could be a great saga villain, not just a movie villain, kind of like what
Yeah,
Hector was saying."
Saga.
Sure.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
I definitely.
But that's,
I
that's what
think-
we're talking about because
yeah.
Thanos was the saga villain, but right at the end
Yeah.
of Endgame, Thanos was killed and then Thanos was dusted, and I don't want that to happen to Doom at the end of Avengers Secret
Yeah.
Wars. You know what I'm saying?
I want Doctor Doom to be like the heroes. Like we see them get multiple movies. That's what I was saying, not just one movie.
For sure.
Like
Now-
I'd like Doctor Doom. I want the title to say Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want it to be like Doctor Doom is like
Coming
the
next
baddie.
summer,
It's like no,
Dr. Doom is the
Now, is this
Yeah.
like one of these?
and then he reappearing
Yeah.
and reappearing.
Yeah.
Is this like one of these
Dr. Doom.
things Disney has done lately where they take these villain stories
Okay.
and they make them like, oh no, here's why they're bad. Your Maleficence, your Cruella.
I see, I see, I
okay,
see.
And my problem is when they do these type of movies, they're not letting Cruella kill the dogs. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
being like, oh, it's because some dogs killed her mom.
I-
That's why
I-
she hates dogs.
Let me
and
tell
she
you
didn't really
right now.
kill the dogs.
Let me tell
She
you
got
right
out of the
now.
way. If you do this Doom movie,
Yeah.
I want him to be bad.
Yeah, he's got to be like
Disney-
not a nice person.
Yeah.
Disney
Sorry.
is not Marvel Studios.
Right.
And vice versa. So I think Marvel Studios, I think they know the importance of this character.
Yeah.
I think they know that this character back in the day in the comics influenced Darth Vader, the greatest movie villain of all. Like they know how meaty and how meaningful this character could be. I don't think that they would do well, Victor's just misunderstood. That's not the point of Doctor Doom, as we talked about. So yeah, he would kill
No,
some
he-
Dalmatians in his movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
with Victor, it's like sadness,
Yeah.
sadness, agony,
Yep.
agony,
Yep.
breaking point.
It's a fun time with the movies,
no,
fam.
It's like there's no, like for example, with Beyonder,
Yeah.
and Molecule Man, we see them showing good and
Yes.
evil. We see them; they're a roller coaster ride. Sometimes
Yes.
they're like, "Hey, we're gonna help people out because this
Yep.
aligns with my values." No, sometimes we're
They-
gonna help out, but
they can
with
be manipulated.
Dr. Doom, it's
You know, like
Yeah.
you're saying, Molecule Man, Owen Reese, and the Beyonders or the Beyonder, they can easily also be manipulated because they're kind of naive.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah.
Doom. He can't be manipulated. One of my favorite Doctor Doom stories is a story where he, as a young man, falls in love with a woman in Latveria. And it's kind of true love. He goes off and becomes Doctor Doom, comes back, becomes the monarch of the country. She's still alive. And he finds a way to reconnect with her and shows his vulnerability, and they kind of rekindle and they fall in love again. And at the end, he sacrifices her soul because it was all a game because he wanted to up his sorcery powers. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even kidding you. He
No,
knew that
he's
he knew
one-minded,
that Doctor
yeah.
Strange was like stronger
Right.
than him in sorcery. So he entered this plan where he knew that he would have to, kind of like Thanos, where he had to like give up the thing he loved, and it was his daughter Gamora. He genuinely had to fall in love with this woman, and vice versa. And then
order
he
for it to
sacrificed her, and then her skin became his new leather armor as he powered up in sorcery.
Yeah.
That's who
adorable.
Doctor Doom is.
That's cute. That's
Doctor
cute.
Doom is like you feel bad, like right?
His mom is in hell. It's bad.
His mom's in hell. His dad like tried to save him. He freezes in his arms. He's raised in this awful country where he's just like seen, repeated crimes and atrocities, etc. Right?
Yeah.
But then it's also like you always have the option to choose good, and like that's kind of what we see in these stories, right? You always have the option of choosing good, but with Doctor Doom, he repeatedly chooses evil.
Yeah, he becomes a dictator.
And he has options to choose good, and he does it. And that's why with Beyonder and Molecule Man, like I was like, I'd love to see this trifecta, because it's like in the comics we've seen their stories cross many a times. They're actually like very like fun, delightful stories. But I do not think Beyonder and Molecule Man have what it takes to be the big bad. And I love both of them. Do you guys mind if I pivot into Beyonder a little bit?
Well, we're gonna go through these.
Sorry, Brandon.
No, we're gonna go through these. We want to give.
Brandon's like Jacki.
Sorry, Evan.
No, I'm just here.
Off the rails.
I'm just here.
Okay.
I'm
Brandon's
existing.
Yeah.
We want to give a quick shout out to one of our writers, Eric Francisco, for helping us compile this list of potential Kang replacements. Let's kick off. Hector, why don't you kick this one off? Let's talk about Molecule Man.
Molecule Man. Molecule Man is Owen Reese. He's a big part of Secret Wars in the comics, like Jacki was talking about.
Look at this adorable. Is that a disco ball?
He provides the source of he provides the source of power for Doctor Doom to steal the Beyonder's powers.
Okay.
So again, he's really tied up into that plot. Maybe in the MCU. Because I agree with what Jacki's saying, but if they were to try and build up this character to be like the big bad, maybe this is how it could work in the MCU. Maybe he could be played by a powerhouse actor who could take over from Kang as this ultimate multiversal threat, close to what actor Iman Vellani, she theorized could happen, sort of similar to the comics, only that she was saying that like Kang would kind of replace the Molecule Man character in the storyline, but this would be sort of Molecule Man replacing maybe what they're building up to do with Kang, with this right? Because the thing about Molecule Man is that there's like a Molecule Man in every universe, and Doctor Doom amasses power by like going into each universe and sort of taking him out, and then the power keeps sort of coalescing and so on and so forth. So it might also be the best way to bring in Doctor Doom and the Beyonders, the beings who are the actual puppet masters of the easily manipulatable Molecule Man. The trick would be to set up, I think, Owen Reese, this character, in the Fantastic Four film that's supposed to come out before this stuff first, because the whole point of his character in the comics is that he's like a second or third tier Fantastic Four villain that they easily deal with.
Yeah.
Why does he come back and he's this hugely powerful? Because he's so fractured. He's such a like mentally damaged and unstable individual. But you have to start him at this level of like, oh, a C-list villain.
We're not worried about him.
Right, before you can just introduce him in the movie and go, he's the most powerful. That's the whole thing, is that he was underestimated. So that would be maybe something that they could do in a Fantastic Four movie, is show this guy, he comes up because I'm Owen Reese, I'm the Molecule Man. And Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four are able to like contain him or trap him or neutralize that threat. Turns out, it ain't neutralized, baby. Back in Secret Wars, he was the big deal. He was So that's one possibility to make Owen Reese Molecule Man. And again, it really just comes back down to the actor. If they find an actor that we can love as much as people dug Josh Brolin Thanos, they got to do the same thing with Doom too. You have to find these, like Hiddleston's Loki.
Yeah,
is because of Hiddleston. That's why that character had the longevity that he had.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
You don't think there's a name recognition problem with Molecule Man? And I say that only in that like the name Molecule Man is so silly.
But if you read Secret Wars, I think they know that, the sort of modern Marvel comics, and they really revert to continue to call him Reese, Owen Reese. He's and it reminds you of his humanity.
Yeah.
Owen is effed up. Like that's what they go back to.
Yeah.
I like that idea of like a villain they've kicked around a bunch. Who's just like, I mean, it's kind of what they're doing with Spot, right? In Across the Spider-Verse, where it's like, oh, he's no problem, blah, blah, blah. Just kidding. He was going around sucking up antimatter.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely think that that's the angle with Molecule Man. Like, I honestly, like, I personally have a very soft spot for Molecule Man. Yeah. He's like a mama's boy. He's trying to find his way. He's deeply insecure. Like, literally in the comics. Like,
is his mother in hell?
I know, and his mother's not in hell. But
I think you get a group of gentlemen whose mothers are all in hell. Yeah. Just pissed off.
Yeah.
I think they just were like really, really awkwardly close.
Oh, okay.
And then he was literally so insecure about his powers that he like was like, oh, I need this wand to make them work. When like he didn't even realize how powerful he was. He he constantly, I feel like, deals with this like self-doubt, self-hatred, and I really want to see something kind of blossom with Molecule Man because I just kind of I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Also, cat lover. He has a romance with Tigra and Volcana.
Literally.
Yeah, literally loves cats. And that's another part I love about Molecule Man. He has these great romances, and there are romances in MCU, but I'd love to see them go a little deeper on that stuff. And I feel for Molecule Man's story, his romances, you're talking about Doctor Doom's romances, and how he had his romance that it was really to get to an end. Molecule Man's romances destroy him. I didn't even bring up Martha. That was the one where he was I'm freaking done with this.
Why did you say that name?
Why did you say that name?
I'm kidding. That's a Batman versus Superman joke.
Sorry. Oh my gosh. I was oh my god, did I do a giant spoiler? Oh my god, sorry.
No.
But I just think I don't think Molecule Man could stand on his own.
Right.
It's the name is kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
I do like what you said though. It's almost the name is silly, so
On
we
purpose.
think
You
less.
underestimate it. Yeah.
But I would love to see him be kind of some offshoot story of Doctor Doom.
I think he would work as someone's using him.
Yeah, or use
much
it
in
the
comics.
Fantastic Four, having a Fantastic
Yeah.
Four versus. I could see that, and I would love that too.
And they get rid of him kind of early on, and then that movie, the Fantastic Four movie, deals with Doctor Doom or somebody else, or Mole Man or something.
Right.
And it's really audience, don't worry about him. So that a few years later,
He
They
can
don't
come
say
back.
Molecule Man will return
Right,
in
no, they don't.
Avengers 5 Molecules Dynasty or something like
that'd
that.
be great. That'd
Oh
be
my
great.
gosh, stop.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's gonna be incredible. People are gonna go crazy for it.
Molecule Man Dynasty. The Molecule Man Dynasty.
Molecule Man
What
Dynasty.
a terrible title.
Tough stuff. Evan, does the audience like Molecule Man?
We got 9 votes for yes as the next big bad and 16 for pass.
Oh,
Ow.
16 for
Let's move
pass.
on to the next
dude.
one.
I
right.
like I said, Molecule Man's cute, but I don't know.
He's cute. I like him being you.
They just want a
That's
badass.
bad, but yeah.
It's just that we just want a badass
Well,
villain,
I mean,
right?
Dr.
you
Doom
know,
is-
I do want a capital V villain for this who's doesn't have some motivation I can empathize with. I do feel the MCU's done that a lot with Killmonger, most famously. Even Wenwu, right? They're this guy's been doing genocides
Lost his
across
wife.
centuries.
Oh my gosh.
But then he's just missing his wife, and I feel bad for him.
When
Yeah,
Jacki was
yeah.
describing this issue of a villain who you meet in one movie, and then by the end of the movie they're gone, and you don't spend that much time with him, and you're kind of okay, I guess this is the one thing that happened to this villain. She was describing Gore the God Butcher,
Right.
Christian
Yeah.
Bale.
I was
great actor.
literally- that was who I was thinking
and it
of,
was
yes.
and I think that he was used fine in that movie. I enjoyed him in that film, but yeah, Gore the God Butcher is not this long-term Marvel villain.
Yeah.
And yes, it was sad that he lost his daughter and potentially the rest of his entire. But yeah, it's you kind of get that a quick shortcut to the sympathy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then Gore's off to the races. And
It's
so
you can't just say. They
Dr.
didn't say
Doom
it. They
is evil.
showed what happened to his daughter and
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
But it was just so fast. There was no.
It's in the prologue.
Yeah, it was truly.
You
like,
don't
Still
truly.
sitting down.
You don't get
Yeah.
to spend time with that
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
the way that we
Yeah.
should with a Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
But what I loved about the High Evolutionary was
Yeah.
he was just a bad dude.
All the way through. Yeah,
He's got no
And that's-
motivation.
That's
He's
great
just a
too.
bad dude.
That
That's
was
great, too.
one of the ones that we said we wouldn't mind coming back.
I
right?
would love, yeah. I mean, he's in a cage right now on
Not
Nowhere.
unalive, though.
Not unalive. He's in a
Yes.
cage on
There's
Nowhere, but
potential.
with his
There
skin
is,
flapping around.
but-
But
That actor was
was great.
impeccable. That honestly was probably one of the best performances I've seen for a villain character. Not
Very
just a villain character,
Shakespearean.
MCU. Yeah. That movie, I was crying so much. I don't know what was going on. with
dude,
me.
people were wrecked in that theater. When they
Yeah.
showed all those baby animals crying. It was, Jesus.
Yeah, it was.
Jeez
dark.
Louise. Teeths? Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, speaking of teeths, who's got big teeth? Galactus. He's a hungry boy.
Transition.
I mean,
Wow.
this is again, you got name recognition.
Yeah.
You got a sorted past in the Fox Fantastic Four movies.
Oh, okay, sure.
We had our sorted Doctor Doom in this.
he was a cloud.
Dr. Doom was fine in those.
No.
You didn't,
Bad.
It was better than the Doom in the Fan Four Stick. Josh Trank's Doom.
No.
You like that Doom better?
Yeah, Toby Kebbell. I think that was a better Doc, but they're still both
I like
terrible.
Julian McMahon as Doom.
Terrible. Nip Tuck? No, gracias. No thanks.
Now, people hate the Galactus Storm Cloud
Sure.
in Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I
great.
personally thought it made a lot more sense than Man in Suit.
Yeah.
Big hat.
Those movies
Yeah.
weren't designed to do Man in Suit.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe is at a point where we can do Man in Suit.
I
want
think
Man in
so too.
Suit.
I agree.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, here's my problem
Galactus,
with the
yeah.
Secret Wars Galactus villain.
Yes.
Is he causing incursions? Is he
Exactly.
mad
You're right,
because
you're right.
incursions are taking his
He's-
lunch away and he
he's-
can't eat
yeah.
a planet anymore? 'cause
Galactus is
it's
not a
gone?
universal threat. He's a planetary
Yeah.
threat. and that's still a great, compelling story. But in Marvel, you have Thanos as a universal threat. You have the Phoenix Force is a universal threat, and the multiverse incursions and stuff. That's a universal threat. So this is a bit of a tough pitch to have this Galactus character, and we were kind of talking about it before we went live. It's like he's not very deep, which is great. That's how Galactus should be used.
Yeah.
He's not a character who's going to pontificate.
He's a janitor of the universe.
He is a force of nature. He is a threat for the Fantastic Four to overcome and for them to shine as heroes. He's not somebody who... He also is like the reason for like the Silver Surfer existing. And then spinning off of the Silver Surfer, there's a ton of Heralds of Galactus characters that a lot of them are really interesting and cool. So there's a whole Galactus has Heralds storyline that keeps going in the Marvel Comics universe. But in terms of like a movie, even I don't know if you can stretch out the coming of Galactus to like a compelling movie. It's
too...
I would rather see
Don't do it.
other Fantastic Four villains. I would rather...
He's one you wrap up in a movie, you're saying.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a saga.
Or honestly, he's one that maybe you could wrap up in like imagine this. The beginning of Infinity War, when Thanos' children come to Earth and there's a big spinning donut in New York and Peter Parker like looks up and they go and deal with these guys. Almost like that, at the beginning of an Avengers movie.
They're dealing with Galactus.
It's almost like
it's a great idea.
Heroes in New York kind of show up, and it's really the Fantastic Four that's like, we got this. As a way to like tell audiences who maybe didn't see the Fantastic Four movie, but they're tuning in for Avengers, the Kang Dynasty or whatever. Here's the Fantastic Four. They're dealing with Galactus. We see Galactus in his full glory. You know, they get the ultimate nullifier, whatever they want to do, and then the first 20 minutes of the movie, done. Let's move on to the big show.
He's the Rhino of Amazing Spider-Man.
I mean, but then Galactus can still play a part in other future cosmic space Marvel stuff as he should, but it's less about him as like a, he's just not, he doesn't have the depth, which is fine. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
okay, Galactus.
It's like, know yourself. Galactus knows he's got a big old funky helmet on. He likes to eat. That's his, you just stay there. Like, you be that. We don't need to go too deep with him. Also, it's funny because, I have all this research and they made fun of my notes, but I don't care.
Made fun of? I mean, that's cool. We're going to get letters about this. Like, please be nice to Jacki.
They did. They were just like, oh, wow,
Excited.
Jacki brought notes.
Yeah, we were scared.
Your notes.
It's because I'm not good at remembering things, so I was like, okay, let's just make sure I'm ready. And then I didn't look at any. I haven't looked at my notes very much. But anyway,
you're doing great.
Moving on. What were we talking about? Galactus. I was like, okay, let me do like some research on Galactus and like the backstory. I was like, this is just, I don't know how you're gonna sell this to people.
It is very tough to go on the fandom these days and read a backstory because so much retconning has happened.
That's true too.
You'll start reading, you're like, wait, I've read comics. I don't remember this, but it's like they've changed so much.
He might be best used in a movie that's either a sequel or deals with the Eternals. Because the Eternals has that like universe historical, but that the birth of the dawn of the universe, the Celestials were powering planets and creating life or whatever they want to do. The best thing about Galactus, in my opinion, the best thing is that he is supposed to be the last surviving member of a humanoid type race, basically humans, from the universe that came before this. That's a really compelling idea. But you can't just base a whole movie around that being his backstory, that he was a scientist, kind of like a Reed Richards, where his world was dying, his whole reality universe was dying. He gets this experimental ship. He's trying to punch through the sort of like death of his reality. And then he's able to punch through. He comes out on the other side and his ship turns into almost this womb. And then like he's in our early universe right after the Big Bang. He was in the Big Bang. And then eons pass, and then he like emerges as this new life form. And he sometimes has memories of this past life, sometimes not. So like that's cool, but that's the kind of shit you see in an Eternals movie. As they're sort of going, as somebody's explaining this is who Galactus is. He was known as Galen, and he came from, okay, but you don't want that to be the whole movie.
I don't think like going deep into Galactus's backstory and like I just don't think that's going to serve the audience
at all.
It's not
rewarding. It's just like, oh, okay.
I think the best way you said it best is like he's got to get like a 20 minute big fight scene, and it can be sad. Like he can be like, I lost everything, and like now I just feel this hunger, and your ants, and I need to eat. I like we don't have to make like, okay, I feel like there's two. You can totally lean into the comedy, right? right? You could be like, Galactus is wearing this big old helmet, and he's like kind of just
Are you
hungry all
saying
the time.
Jack Black as Galactus? Done. All right, Jackie. That's pretty good. Got it.
That's pretty.
But I'm saying like there's options. You could definitely lean like super comedic, or you could be like, he's just like starving and he's like, you're ants to me. Like I gotta eat.
It just the whole thing feels similar to how like the Celestials were treated in that movie Eternals, because they were beings that were like, we have to do this for universal balance.
Right, we're trying to have babies here.
Yeah, it wasn't like they had personalities or it's just like this is how the universe must be.
Yeah.
Which is these huge heady concepts, and that's cool, but
That's what we do to cows and pigs and chickens every day. We're just like, sorry, we gotta eat.
No, but
We created you, and we will destroy you.
Evan, what's the poll result?
So we've got 15 for yes and 7 for pass.
Oh, so Galactus made it through, and Molecule Man did it.
It's that name. It's the name. The people don't like the name.
They don't like the name.
Well, let's talk about something that's triggering on this channel sometimes. The big M himself, Mephisto.
Oh my gosh, we haven't even tapped into
This is like new Rockstar signature villain pitch right here. Evan will run a poll on this one. Marvel could finally be leaning into the supernatural, which they've done a little bit by introducing Mephisto. I feel like this multiverse saga has gotten more into the supernatural, especially with like the Scarlet Witch,
Werewolf by Night,
all that kind of good stuff. We're gonna have Agatha's show.
Oh,
Ironheart is
excited
supposed
for
to be a
that.
mix of magic and science.
Doctor Strange's movies.
Doctor
a bit more
Strange.
magical.
True.
Yeah. He was also in the Ghost Rider movies.
Was he though? Really?
Oh,
Whatever.
we'll count it. Check the fandom. If it's on the fandom, it's real.
I know we had Peter Fonda and then what was it? Kieran Hines, but it's like that gorgeous red look. We never had that.
Yeah, well,
do need that.
the big rumor is that Sacha Baron Cohen will be playing Mephisto in the upcoming Ironheart series. We were talking about it before the show. I think there's a lot of love for Mephisto.
Yeah.
He's like kind of a wild character.
Definitely,
Making him the big villain of Secret Wars, I don't know.
He wasn't even the big villain of, if you read like the Infinity Gauntlet comic book, but he was there. He had a presence. He was whispering in Thanos' ear and stuff. So like he does feel like he's almost like Jafar before he gets the full genie powers. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like he's got like evil machinations and he's whispering in the Sultan's ear. This is the sort of character that he is. I don't know if he has the ambition to like destroy every reality.
I definitely think an argument can be made for Mephisto. We were talking earlier, he in ways could be considered the most powerful because he can come back whenever evil arises. So he is unalived or disappears or vanishes or whatever, but as soon as evil creeps up, he's able to come back. And I also think that there's lots of things we could do. I know it's probably been linked to WandaVision, right? Because part of Mephisto in the comics was allegedly Tommy and Billy, though I know Tommy and Billy are gone. But who knows? Maybe they could make some wild
could still put it in
there.
there. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think Mephisto. I'm very interested in how Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto is going to be. Is it gonna be, I don't want him to be super goofy. I want him to be kind of like the CEO, not like Kingpin, but it's got to be a little, gosh, I get a Giancarlo Esposito kind of vibe. I want him to be you respect him, but he has these unhinged moments, right? And I think that he could also have a lot of connections to some great baddies. We haven't gotten into the Beyonder yet, but Mephisto gets pissed off at Beyonder numerous times, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, because you seem like you really know this stuff. But
I think you're right.
I think first of all, we haven't talked about Beyonder at all, but he's just this powerful.
We're saving
baby.
Beyonder.
Yeah,
He's
he's
coming.
a powerful baby, but then he messes up Mephisto's plans all the time. Beyonder was I just want to get rid of death. I'm gonna get rid of death,
Yes,
and then
he did
Mephisto's
do that.
what the.
That's-
You're messing
I
up my
need
plan
that.
here. You
I
just
need that.
destroyed
That's my job. That's my job, man.
And then there's some, and then and then Beyonder's you know what? I want to be immortal. I don't want to be this being anymore. And becomes immortal. And then Mephisto's dude, I don't know why it messed up his plan, but Mephisto comes back up again and is hey, you're really messing up my game plans. So I feel there could be a really good dynamic there.
Jackie, you gave me a casting idea.
Okay.
Because as we're talking about the Marvel Universe's version of the devil, Mephisto.
Yeah.
I was thinking of, because you were like, how should he be? Should he be too goofy? Should he be a little bit serious?
Yeah.
My go-to for a cinematic Satan is always going to be Elizabeth Hurley in Bedazzled. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh my God, Elizabeth Hurley!
She was so playful and
Love
straight.
it. Yeah.
But there were a few moments where she was unhinged and she was messing with Brendan Fraser and being
Yeah.
like, you are nothing. You're an ant.
Yeah.
So that could be kind of a Mephisto vibe. And then I was like, what if Brendan Fraser is the Beyonder? How fun
Oh my
would
God,
that
how
be?
cute would that be?
You need somebody naive and kind of really lovable,
Yes.
and he just has like ultimate power, and he's just like, I just want to, I don't know anything, and he has like other characters need to teach him stuff. So maybe now I'm on the Brendan Fraser as the Beyonder train.
I kind of love that
He would be
cast.
great.
He definitely has the essence, right?
Yeah.
Like, and we again. I'm sorry, I'm bringing up Beyonder. I don't think like Mephisto like should be slept on though. I
Yes.
think that like
There's potential there.
I know that there was like something written in the notes that like it's Marvel and Disney and like people are worried because he's like Satan or whatever. But it's like more like he needs to be this. He can be this like demon, evil, just kind of villain. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to get like too caught up or tied up with that. You
Right.
know? He has tons of powers like teleportation, can manipulate stuff, manipulates people. Oh my God, we haven't even talked about that. You know, like he manipulated Spider-Man into, getting rid of the marriage with Mary Jane.
We don't talk about that story.
Okay,
gosh.
sorry. No, but like he is able to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
heroes and villains in vulnerable moments
Yep.
and make them make awful decisions for his benefit. And, that's
think,
super,
and think about this.
you know.
Think about this.
Yeah.
Stephen Strange tried to help Peter Parker recently.
Oh,
And
yes.
it backfired on him. What if Peter Parker gets approached by Sacha Baron Cohen and he goes, wouldn't you like it if MJ remembered who you were? Do you think Peter would make that deal? Boom. The devil is now involved with Spider-Man. But like in a way that maybe won't make everyone mad. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
exactly. That's the thing I think with Mephisto is like
Yeah.
they're gonna have to figure out ways to work around that.
Yeah.
But
I think if they establish that like the incursions fuel his like hell dimension or something
Could
like
be,
that.
yeah.
could be.
There's too many universes and he
things-
needs to
yeah.
consolidate.
Yeah.
I could see that. And I would love it if he wasn't like, the maniacal mastermind behind it all the whole time, but it's like you don't know that he's behind it all.
Sure.
And to your point, he's
Yeah.
manipulating heroes to make bad decisions.
and manipulating villains too.
And villains, yeah. And especially someone like Stephen Strange, who is a problem. Doctor
Yeah,
Strange
he's
is
not-
bad in
he's
every
not-
universe.
Yeah, he's
a
got
bad
the
dude.
third eye, yeah,
he's
yeah.
always making dumb decisions. He was just given Sorcerer Supreme in like 2 days. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
Yeah.
He's a problem. Get rid of him.
Can that rant please be put on TikTok? Someone clip that.
I say it all the time. He is the problem. In
Yeah.
every
I love
universe,
it.
Stephen
That's what
Strange is the
that's what
problem.
his movie said.
We check it on the
Straight up.
838, the most peaceful dimension ever. And they're
Yeah.
like, Doctor Strange was screwing stuff up.
Yep.
Come on.
Honestly, though, that like we could totally have Mephisto manipulating Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, and that could be
Easy
I don't
peasy.
know. You know what I mean?
Boom.
Like easy.
be
They're
great.
kind of like easy targets.
Evan,
What's the poll result?
Yeah.
All right,
Sorry.
so we've got 44 for yes for Mephisto.
Oh,
Everyone
44?
showed up for Mephisto.
Wow.
People sharing the
no
link?
no's?
That's
there were
the-
0 no's.
There was 12 passes.
That's the power of Eric Voss right there, folks. That's
That it is right there.
Thank you.
Mephisto's cool.
Before we finally get to the Beyonder to make Jackie very happy,
Yay.
we wanted to thank some of our sponsors today, especially Lucy for sponsoring today's episode of The Break Room. What is Lucy? Well, Lucy is upping the nicotine pouch game with Breakers. With a mini liquid capsule inside each Breakers, you get a satisfying pop and instant flavor. No more weak flavors that don't last. Breakers are different. This is what a little packet of Lucy looks like. It's nicotine gum. Hello. It comes in 4 or 8 milligrams of tobacco-free, 100% pure nicotine, and in 6 delicious flavors. Unique ones like apple ice or espresso, or classic flavors we all know. Mint, mango, the classics, folks. Break up with your dusty gas station pouches and go to lucy.co/breakroom and use promo code breakroom to get 20% off your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co and use code breakroom to get 20% off and always free shipping. Now here comes the legal fine print. I've got to say, Lucy products are only for adults of legal age and every order is age verified.
Yep.
Warning, this product contains nicotine and nicotine is an addictive chemical. Thanks again to Lucy for sponsoring this episode of The Break Room.
You know how they check the age? Is they go, did you play Jurassic Park on Sega?
Yeah,
Genesis?
that's how they
What
know.
did the T-Rex say?
They
At
say, who was the
Lucy.com.
villain in the
You go,
Care
And then-
Bears movie?
And then you
Yeah.
say that,
Ooh.
and they go, "Well, you're way over
We're
the age."
way
Yeah.
too
Yeah,
old.
like-
You're way
They're like,
too
so you
old.
should go to a doctor. You're too
Yeah,
old to
you're
be
sure.
alive.
Have you checked your back recently? How's your back?
You're up for a prostate
Can
exam. I
we-
got bad news.
For real though, like people were like, "Oh, I have back pain, my knee hurts." I'm
Mm-hmm.
like 36, almost 37. I'm like, dude, like they didn't warn us enough.
They
Like
didn't
I
warn us.
literally woke up this morning and my lower back was hurting, and I was just like, "Where did this come from?
When I was in line skating as a kid, and my mom was like, "Wear your knee pads," I was like, "Screw you, mom."
Yeah.
Should have worn those knee pads.
Should have worn the knee pads.
Oh my
we
gosh.
We didn't believe our
didn't believe-
elders, and
Our bones
and
are
now we're
fragile.
elders, and we're like, dang.
We ate
this is
Lunchables
real.
as children, and now our bones are balsa wood, basically.
True, dude.
Hey, check out nerdriot.shop. We have some great Breakroom merch coming out very soon, but we also have a ton of great designs on the site. We got our Best Bubs shirt on there right now. I'm wearing
cute.
they're Best Bubs, folks. Get ready for Deadpool 3. You've only got a few months. Grabbing merch from Nerd Riot is a great way to support the Breakroom and all the work we do at New Rockstars Network. So either click the link in the description below or head on over to nerdriot.shop and pick some up today. We are doing our X-Men rewatch series right now. And we're going to have some special X-Men themed merch coming to the shop very soon. Check it out, nerdriot.shop. Jacki, tell us about the
Okay,
Beyonder.
sorry. The only reason why I laughed was because Evan put in the prompter Beyonder in like size 200
Yeah,
font.
it was huge.
Yeah.
Like Beyonder. We're getting to Beyonder. Gosh. Okay. Okay, well, you know what, Hector? Tell me if I'm wrong on this backstory here.
Okay.
Basically, this is Jacki's unhinged telling of
Here we
Beyonder.
go.
Okay, Beyonder is a big, powerful baby, and he comes from this, I think it's race, right? Called the Beyonders.
Yeah.
And they're basically epic AF. Like, they're like extremely powerful. They're probably on the level, I don't know if quite Celestials
This
level,
is-
but they
this
gotta
is
be
like an argument you get
he
into with
says higher.
everyone.
Probably more.
He says higher. Okay, so
But
like,
Celestials exist outside of the multiverse.
Okay.
They're so
Right,
powerful.
but here's
trying
the
to get a
deal.
comparison.
I think the Beyonders are like the architects of reality. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
that's
the
how
Beyonders are
powerful
like
they
really, really high
Which
up.
firmament were they evolved?
So this is where it gets weird because even though they're like that high up,
Yeah.
so I don't really know how this goes down, but basically like, okay, there was like some cosmic cube they wanted to create and like Molecule Man messing things up
Heard of
here.
him?
See,
Heard
you
of
think
him?
Molecule Man, don't
Yep.
sleep on Molecule Man. And he's like working at Acme and it's like some, I don't even know, laboratory, whatever, messes something up and it just like messes up the cosmic cube and it turns into this powerful baby Beyonder.
Cute.
And then Molecule Man and
Oh,
Beyonder,
right,
they
right.
link up and they have like all these issues because they're
Yeah.
like supposed to be together. So anyways, there's this like super powerful baby comes to Earth and is like so and like just imagine, you know, someone being so powerful, but they don't even know how to use the bathroom. Like Spider-Man actually teaches Beyonder how to use the bathroom.
Yep, because he
And-
goes, I think, and gives him a hot dog or something. He's like, well, you've never eaten food. Here's food. And he's like, this is delicious. And then he was like, I don't feel good. And Peter was like, you got to take a shit, bro. And he's like, what is shit? And Peter has to like teach him how to take a shit.
I literally just read that like
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
great.
it's pretty much exactly
you
what
expect
happened.
parents to take their children to this movie in the
This-
summer?
This is
Okay.
something that happened in a comic series called Secret Wars 2. When
Yeah.
they did a sequel, the first Secret Wars, the Beyonder was this omnipotent being, and he had a battle world and all this stuff. In the sequel series, the Beyonder decides to come to Earth and be like, "Well, I want to be immortal.
Yeah.
I want to live like a human." Because I like them, I admire them. They're so cool.
Yeah,
And Peter had to
it's
teach him how to poop.
Yeah.
So, okay, Hector is like, this is a really good transition from what Hector's saying because like what you love about Beyonder is that like he is just like us. Like he is just trying to figure out humanity and how to get through life. And his whole journey is this journey of self-discovery, right? So he falls in love and Dazzler breaks his heart. And then he's
Dazzler.
like,
Allison.
and he's like, how he's heartbroken. We all know what it's
I mean,
like.
you don't
to be
want to
heartbroken.
date the Beyonder, though.
I mean,
Yeah, I
You gotta
mean,
teach him how to
you
poop.
Yeah, you're right. There's a
Yeah.
lot
You're
of
gonna be like, oh, you remember on season 2 of The Wire? And he's like, I haven't watched The Wire, and you're like, oh my god.
he would absolutely fail the orange peel test because you'd be like, Beyonder, honey, would you peel this orange for me? And he'd be like, what is orange? And you're like, oh my god, why am I dating this guy?
Okay, in Dazzler's defense, there's a lot of reasons why she probably didn't want to date Beyonder. But like,
Yeah.
okay, he
He just
discovers
experienced his
heartbreak.
life.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he you know, he like he tries to help people, he tries to enlighten people, and it's like not working. And then he's like, well, why do I exist then? He's like, I don't even want to be here. It's like he's having this like constant existential crisis and asking himself questions that I think, frankly, like we all ask ourselves all the time.
Yep.
And so it's like it is kind of all highly exaggerated, but then you just end up empathizing with him because you're just like, man, I've been heartbroken. I've felt like, why do I even exist? I wanted to just eliminate death. Can we just get rid of, like, he does stuff and you're like, honestly, like, I just feel bad. I feel bad for you. And so
he's a multiversal threat.
yeah,
But he's the type of multiversal threat that heroes would have to save or help in a way where they're helping them. You don't just fight the Beyonder. You fight Thanos, or like, if there's no physical component to that, because he's just going to win. So it's about containing. It's about getting to the humanity.
Yeah. So in this hypothetical, they set up the Beyonder as the big villain for these next 2 Avengers movies. We're at Secret Wars. And this is a situation where, like, the Beyonder is doing this on purpose, or he's accidentally creating these incursions, and all the heroes and villains are getting together to be like, Beyonder, you gotta stop.
Okay.
It could be a little of that. I mean, you oversimplified it, but it could be a little of that.
Because what was like
Hector, first movie's Battle World.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it.
Set up Battle World and then
Yes.
conclude Battle World.
Yes, and the second movie is more about the teams of Avengers trying to get to the heart of Battle World.
Is there a movie in between?
No, maybe not.
Because I think the schedule's Costa right now, right?
Sure.
But I think in the original plan, there was a year in between those 2 movies, and maybe a movie in between them. I don't know. I could be making that up. But who knows where they're at now with that whole schedule. It's all crazy.
It is. It's like Avengers Infinity War takes place in 2018. It was released in 2018. A year goes by, and then Endgame comes out.
Right.
And that's supposed to pick up right after Infinity War. But there were still a few movies that were released in between as they're kind of filling in the gaps or whatever. So they could still do Avengers 5 going into Avengers 6, release some projects in between. Those don't necessarily have to take place in between the, you know what I'm saying? It's part 1 and part 2.
Sure.
Could be.
But creating like Battle World is pretty intense.
Yeah.
To then be like, oh, but before that happened, let's check in on the Eternals. See what they're up to. And it's like, I don't got time for that. Evan, do you have a thought?
Okay, so the poll went interestingly. It kind of split with 15 pass and 9 for yes.
So here's another thing I've seen. I can't take credit for it. I've seen this rumor or this sort of fan speculation, fan casting, and I think it's kind of smart because it loops in the 2015 Fantastic Four film directed by Josh Trank, which was awful. But that movie's cast was also miscast. But that movie had an actor named Miles Teller who played Reed Richards. He was in Top Gun Maverick. He's a big deal right now. But I didn't love his take on Reed. But that's exactly the point. The character of the Maker from Marvel Comics originally came from the Ultimate Universe of comic books, like Ultimate Spider-Man. So that's where Miles Morales originally came from. But this is what he ends up looking like. He is a younger Reed Richards because he started in Ultimate Fantastic Four when they were all kind of younger. Really great series start. I thought it was a great take on their origin, and it was just straightforward Fantastic Four. At one point, Reed, this young guy, gets trapped in some sort of a time loop or something. Typical thing happens, kind of like Groundhog Day, lives thousands of years, becomes evil, and it is so evil that he also, in his universe, is aware of the incursions, the same way that characters in like the 616 are aware of the incursions before the Secret Wars thing. So he does everything in his power to ensure that his universe, reality 1610, also survives. So he's planning stuff, he's making sure people are dying, and he's even going so far as to destroy other realities before they can do the incursion. He even jumps over to our universe, 616, and teams up with the bad guys there. They have like an evil Illuminati called the Cabal, which includes Thanos, because he was still alive, but also like Namor the Submariner.
And I love that about Namor. He like switched over. He's like, by Illuminati, I'm going over to bad.
Yeah, because the bad Illuminati were realizing, because like T'Challa and Reed and all of the heroes were on the good Illuminati, and they were like, we have to destroy realities to ensure that ours survives.
Yeah, we can't do that.
They went, we can't cross that line. Namor was like, F y'all, that's the way we got to get this done. He is on this team. They start doing that. The Maker communicates with them and helps them do that, and like teams up with them and hops over. So I've seen online people say, what if they brought back Miles Teller in this multiverse movie? And it is the same, supposed to be the same Reed Richards from this 2015 failed Fantastic Four movie that didn't go anywhere, but he's now the evil version. And it's like, you get a little bit of nostalgia the same way we have seen with, you know, Toby and Andrew Spider-Man's coming back. You're like, those are from other movies. You know, we just saw Kelsey Grammer or heard him as the Beast in the Marvels, and you get the nostalgia of like, that's the Beast from the other movies that I know of. So here comes Miles Teller. I know he's a great actor. I know he could play this version of Reed, because he kind of played an unlikable one I didn't even like anyway. So it's like, lean into that. And then he and his machinations are part of the storyline that basically maybe he kills all the different Kangs. Maybe he pushes
that's a
Doctor
good
right.
idea.
He pushes
That's a
Doctor
good
Doom
idea.
out of the way so that it's all about him. And at the end of Secret Wars, when the heroes defeat him and take him out, you're never going to see Miles Teller, Fantastic Four, Reed Richards again, but that's fine. And then maybe like our Reed, whoever it's supposed to be, rumored to be Pedro Pascal, whoever, is the type of character that can kind of step into that role, but maybe still has to deal with heroes that are untrusting of him because they're like, dude, your other younger self
That's
went
fun.
evil. Anyway, there's just a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff that character could, drawing from the comics, introduce into the MCU Secret Wars.
I like the idea of like a character who's already been dealing with this problem.
Yes.
It's like they just came to us now. It's like, okay, you guys are next.
Yeah.
I got to take you
I
out.
love
He was
that.
like, I've been
Yeah.
killing reality since
Yeah, yeah.
2015.
You guys
since
are late
my
to the
movie
game.
ended.
You guys are late to the game.
Oh,
So the
okay.
Maker wouldn't necessarily be like the new big bad, but he could be like a big villain, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and he's like a Thanos, where at the end of Secret Wars, they defeat him. They kill him. He's done. Whatever. You're not going to keep him going.
Yeah.
Unlike
I like
a
it.
Doctor Doom. Unlike a whatever.
And it would be interesting to establish for any of this like big bad that like they were manipulating Kangs to create the
True. It
Yeah.
could be.
create the conditions for them to come in and like scoop up.
It just leans into the whole multiverse saga because it's
Right.
a bad guy from another universe, like they kind of did in the comics.
Yeah,
So
I like that.
That's cute. I like
Evan, are we
cute.
rolling a poll?
Nostalgia.
Yeah, so we got a lot of people saying yes for that one. 52 yeses.
52?
Damn!
Maker?
Yeah. There's
thank the
there's like a
maker.
lot of people
Yo, don't
watching.
sleep
this.
in nostalgia. Don't sleep. I mean, honestly, whenever you have the opportunity to revisit
Yeah.
any character, people just get so hyped.
I just
so.
picture that it's a bunch of 25-year-olds right now that are like, I saw that Fantastic Four movie when I was like 12
I
or 15.
didn't
It's
want
awesome.
to
Like they were
hear
like,
that.
it's great. Okay.
Things to like about it.
Yeah.
There were things to not like about
Yeah.
it.
I was
think
just thinking
that's
about how
fair.
young they were when they saw it and
Yeah.
how unyoung. I
Don't
know. Anyway,
cry
why you?
out loud. All right,
Oh, my
let's
bad.
talk about.
Oh.
Let's talk about another M villain, Magneto.
Oh.
Look at him. What a gorgeous boy. Now, I would steal a page from your book, Hector, and
Yes.
say like this is a Magneto from a different universe.
You're doing Ian McKellen? You're doing Fassbender?
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
I think you don't even take them. Maybe you take one of them. Sure. They're both
Okay.
great. They both
Okay.
did a great
Yeah, they're
job with the
both
role.
great,
They're
yeah.
the same Magneto, so I don't know if you do young Magneto, old Magneto. But a Magneto from a universe where there are mutants,
Yep.
and there have been mutants.
Yep.
There's no mutants in the 616. Don't say that they've been hiding, that they're there now. No, they're just not there.
I don't like
right?
this. I don't like
And
it.
this Magneto has been carving up universes, maybe manipulating his daughter Wanda to help carve up universes.
Go on.
Trying to find a safe home for his mutants. This is a Magneto who is like fully against any Homo sapien, and he's like Homo
And he's
superior
trying
is
to
going
find
to
a
take
safe home
over.
for mutants,
He's trying to
right?
find a safe home for mutants, and he doesn't want to destroy the 616. He just wants to destroy the non-mutant, all the living beings in the 616, and park his mutants here on our planet.
I
this
like
is going to be
this.
his home now, right?
Yeah.
And all the mutants that are aligned with him are aligned with him. There are no mutants trying to stop him. So maybe some of our heroes that we've seen before are actually aligned with this Magneto because they're from a universe where they're fully on his side.
Oh, so that like
they fully
CG,
bought in.
that CG beast,
CG
voiced by
beast, yeah.
Kelsey Grammer, next to the binary character played by Lashana Lynch. They're like, we're with this Magneto.
Yeah, what if that's the
Dang!
reveal? That like,
What?
and Charles is in on it too.
Yeah.
He's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And these
I
are
love
just like
that.
mutants here to take over.
You know, before
Too sad.
you created this amazing plan, I was
Yeah.
kind of like, man, are people like kind of Magnetoed out? Which I honestly, I love Magneto.
Yeah.
Like, I think Magneto, you know, we were talking about some of the greatest villains, but Magneto is one of the
He's great.
greatest
Yes.
villains, period. Like,
I agree.
MCU, DCEU, we're just talking villains. And just like the fantastic acting that we saw from Sir Ian McKellen and from Michael Fassbender, it's just like, I don't know who would play this version, but
Yeah.
it's like, you got to have someone who has like that intense.
Jack Black.
Yeah, Jack Black. Definitely Jack Black.
Coming away!
But honestly, before your proposal, I was kind of like, I don't know about Magneto. But like, you just thought of a really creative way to bring him back,
He's great.
playing the nostalgia.
You don't need a Magneto that's here on the 616 because it wouldn't make
Yeah.
sense. But one who's like already all the way
Yeah, I
powered
don't
up
know.
and is just ripping the nickel out of the earth. Is nickel magnetic? I don't think it is.
I just want to shout out this person. I'm not sure if you suggested this, Jackie, but Latin Blue said if you want to mess with people, Aaron Taylor Johnson as Magneto.
Oh,
Okay.
What?
He's like
From Godzilla 2014? I don't know about that.
possible.
That would be confusing. But
I love hearing what people think they.
Yeah.
Casting's so hard. You
Yes,
know what
it
I mean?
is,
Like
yeah.
you were talking about for Beyonder, it's like
Dude.
who could you find who is like, extremely powerful, but then you're just like, oh my gosh,
And
every time you're interacting with them, you know?
honestly, shout out to Sarah Finn and her casting company and the casting people that have worked in Marvel Studios projects up to this point, from Iron Man all the way to now, because they are the unsung heroes of this franchise.
Yeah,
That's
great
so
casting.
true.
They find people.
Yeah.
Sometimes they find the celebrities that fit perfectly. Anthony Hopkins is Odin, and sometimes they find those lesser known actors. You know, Tom Holland had done a movie. But they find them, and you're like, God, that's the character.
He could do a backflip. Have
He
you
can do
seen
a,
that?
this
His
boy, this
audition where he
British
does a
boy
backflip?
can do a backflip like it's no big deal.
here.
So
Holland.
everything we're talking about, it just really boils down to that. These characters that I want them to be serviced, like done justice, Doctor Doom or Mephisto or Molecule Man
Yeah.
or even Galactus. Like, how do
And
you
villain
find?
casting is the hardest.
It is, man. I heard rumors they were going to do Javier Bardem as Galactus, and you hear that and you go, that would work. What a difficult, like, it's
He
just,
was great as King Triton. He was the only one in that movie that was fully bought in. And he was like, I'm King Triton, dude.
Yeah.
And he was great.
Yeah.
Until the end when he
him.
comes out of the water and he looks
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Just some Javier Bardem love.
Yeah.
There are only like 2 or 3 villains in my entire life where I saw them on camera, and it literally, me sitting as an audience member, felt completely chilled to my core. Like I was
Country
like,
for
I
Old
feel
Men.
No Country for Old Men.
Little
Like,
Mermaid, King Triton.
Yeah.
He's the villain.
And Little Mermaid, yeah, obviously that one.
And his
then,
character Salazar from Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell
Oh,
No
yeah.
Tales.
He was great.
Yeah, but
Salazar.
he can definitely play a great villain.
What did the chat say about Magneto?
We got 25 yeses and 4 passes. So-
People love Magneto.
People
As
love
soon as you
Ant-Man.
said that,
Yeah.
Love him.
you actually, when you brought the nostalgia effects,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I don't know, people would be happy to see
I
Magneto
think they
again.
would. Do we need to power through this next one? I can
Yeah.
I can go through this real quick.
Do it.
Next potential pitch for taking over Kang as a big bad, Arishem and the Celestials.
There he is.
Arishem,
The Judge.
was at the end of the Eternals movie. I'm maybe pitching this because it's like, are we going to get an Eternals 2? I think the movie was moderately successful, not a huge hit. Maybe they're going to fold in the Eternal storyline stuff into the bigger picture. And maybe the Celestials can be that planetary threat, kind of like a Galactus. Maybe even a multiverse threat, kind of like you were saying in the comic books, the Celestials sometimes are depicted as they also exist outside of reality. So it's like, oh, shit.
They created the multiverse. They
Yes.
exist outside. They exist in each one of them.
Yes.
You kill the Arishem in our universe, he just like respawns. Like
Right.
So they could kill off our universe and still be alive.
That threat can maybe unite the heroes and bring in the Eternals characters, the sort of remaining Eternals characters, or even from a multiverse or from other pockets of the universe, bring in the Eternals characters who died, like what's his name, Icarus from
He's
from
not
Game
dead.
of Thrones. The one who punched
not
through the
dead.
sun.
We didn't see him die.
Or
He's
the,
not dead.
the great Gilgamesh, that actor from Train to Busan, the fantastic Korean actor.
Yeah,
I think his
yeah.
name is Don Lee. That's his like Hollywood name, not his the Korean sort of South Korean actor name. But anyway, it might be a way to bring in those characters and loop them into the Guardians of the Galaxy, the
Right.
other Earth heroes, whatever you're going
Could
to
you
do.
imagine
So-
Eternals coming from every planet?
Yeah, absolutely.
In
So
our
it could just be-
universe.
it could just be a big universal thing, world-ending threat. The Celestials could be there.
They're not as
So-
compelling as
So
villains.
No.
what would it be, like celestial judgment, or like, well, what's okay?
Yes,
I understand. So
yes.
what's the angle though?
uh,
I'm gonna be harsh.
Go for it.
I find the whole Celestials Eternals like kind of like meh. Like
It's-
they're very cool, beautiful beings, but it's just like it's kind of like the fact that they're like so perfect. I'm just like, okay, like I don't know.
You're describing the Eternals, even from the comics, even from the 70s,
Yeah.
when Jack Kirby created them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best thing about the Eternals is those heady concepts.
Yeah.
And it's basically Jack Kirby, who was this really rad dude who read a bunch of fun books, kind of philosophy books in the 60s and 70s. Chariots of the Gods was one of them, where at one point writers were speculating, what if the pyramids were made by aliens? And eventually, people debunked all that shit. They're like, no, all of the amazing, cool, mysterious things about human, history, humans did that.
Yeah.
But Jack
Not in a
Kirby,
cool way, but
yeah,
they
he
did it.
just kind of bought into that idea. So these characters have always been sort of tricky to connect to.
Sure.
Your Circes
Yeah.
and your Icaruses and your,
Yeah.
Makari, all that other stuff. So they just hired really good-looking actors. They hired really funny, charismatic people, your Kumail Nanjianis and all that stuff. So do I want them to be like the next major stars of the MCU? No, not really.
Yeah.
But I want like Gemma Chan to come back. Like
Right.
I want them to
Yeah.
find ways to use these characters in cool and interesting ways. I mean, her character Cersei, she was in the Avengers in 90s comics for a long time, had a relationship with Dane Whitman, the Black Knight. There's some stuff you can do there, but I'm not trying to pitch them as like, well, they're the next Spider-Man. I don't
Yeah.
know too many people whose favorite Marvel characters are the Eternals, but somebody out there Watch that movie and they went
Yeah.
Kingo's my new favorite Marvel hero. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I hope we can see him. So that's why I'm like, maybe they can just be folded into kind of a larger Avengers thing. That's really the pitch.
Yeah. They're just like so cool and so
Yeah.
perfect. And you're
Yeah.
just like, I think it makes it a little bit hard to relate to them. And even Arishem, like I was like, okay, you're just really badass and all powerful.
And huge
like you
and-
do judgment on humanity, or not humanities, I guess just like worlds. And
Yeah.
you're like, hey, you get to exist, you don't. It's just like, I guess heady is the right word. It's
Yeah,
just like
that's
so above me. Like I'm like, I want
Sometimes-
something like
Sometimes
grittier,
you
I
smoke a
guess.
little doobie.
No.
And you like having these kinds of conversations. That's all.
I mean, the concept of universes colliding into each
Yeah.
other is heady too,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it would make sense for them to be around it all. Okay, Evan. Now, besides Doom, who's the easy choice? Who's the most likely to be like the next big bad out there?
So if we're just going by chat, like it looks like the Maker and Mephisto won. I think a
Okay.
lot of people were really sold by Hector's pitch. But what do you guys think out of everything we've talked about today?
I like the idea of like a combo, right? Where you were
Yeah.
talking about like Beyonder
Yeah.
and Doom manipulating Molecule Man. Like I love a fake out where we think it's someone and it was
Yes.
actually someone else.
I
great.
also want to stress, if it's not going to be Kang, and the rumors are they're still going to like maybe recast him.
Yeah, that's true.
They had things in motion, and the movie may still be the Kang Dynasty, especially also because, just one more reminder, they've set up the Young Avengers. And I think Kang, people might not be aware, they forget, the character of Kang and his history, he's looped into a character
Right.
in the Young Avengers that's really important, deals with Cassie Lang. She already encountered Kang in Quantumania, so there's something they can still do there. But maybe at the end of the Kang Dynasty, that's it for Kang.
Yeah.
Then you shift the focus. But I love Jacki's pitch, which is Doctor Doom is there. He's maybe the big bad, but Molecule Man and the Beyonders are there. And I think that trifecta, I think that even if it ends up being that Doom is there and maybe still gets pushed to the side so that he can kind of keep going in the movies beyond Secret Wars in phase 6 or 7 or whatever is after. Yeah, it's going to be after phase 6.
Yeah.
So it'll be phase 7 of the MCU. That Secret Wars movie can then shift and go, well, actually, Molecule Man is the biggest multiversal threat. All the heroes have to team up to take him down. That can still work. But Doctor Doom is sort of just still in play.
Right.
And then we
Yeah.
can see more of him later.
I love that. Like
Yeah.
he's just like kind of like pulling the strings, like you said, manipulating people, and then like he's just waiting to pounce, and you just know he's looming.
Yeah.
I love that. I also loved all the love for Mephisto. I mean, like
Yeah.
I still think Mephisto could be a great big
He'll be a
bad
part
too.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I don't know. I think Doctor Doom would be the best big
the move.
overarching bad.
the move.
I would love to see Mephisto. I just think that like it might be. It's going to depend so much on casting and what direction
Yep.
they're going to take Mephisto in.
And I'm going to
so.
be harsh. I'm going to say that Brandon's Magneto idea was dumb. And
Wow.
don't
Oh
wanna
my
do
God,
it.
I
Wow.
Nope.
idea.
Let me tell you where Brandon lost me, where he was like,
Okay.
there's no mutants in the MCU.
No.
I said, how dare you, sir?
No.
They've already been teased that there's a dude with knife claw hands in a
Okay.
bar somewhere.
There's a dude in probably West Hollywood right now running around with knife claw hands. For all I know. And Kamala Khan, that was just Bruno being like, you have a mutation. He's just trying to hook up, dude. You tell a girl she's got a mutation just to get her to dinner. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Well, that's it for us today. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel right here on YouTube. And give us a follow on Twitch, where we do these videos live. Jacki, Jing, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Jacki Jing. Oh, it didn't show up.
That was cute, though. Oh, there it is.
I'm ready.
You shouldn't have played it for her.
Actually, Evan was so sweet, and they rated my Twitch channel last time.
Oh,
so-
yeah.
And a bunch of Breakroom people stuck around and were super kind. So you all are great.
The
So you all
Breakers,
love.
the roomies, they're great people. They're great people. Hector, where can they find you on socials?
There it is. All right.
Adorable.
Thanks so
Check
much
out
for
the-
checking me
yeah.
out today. I
Oh,
was
oh,
trying
yeah,
to.
sorry. Nope.
Remember, you can find me at Hector is funny. Oh my God, there it is. Okay, yeah, at Hector is funny. Thanks. We're done. I'm still going.
This is a good road show. We're taking it on the road, folks. Be sure to follow at Breakroom NR on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. If the 5 of you who are on Threads are available, check us out. We'll see you next time. Latest Gators. Goodbye.